I rushed over to Make Company store and bought 3 woolen suits. I bought the suits because I remembered New York and Chicago were in the north and I'd seen them in movies blanketed with snow. In my excitement over going to see the great cities for the first time, I forgot it was summertime. Hello, my name is Serena. Welcome to my channel. So what does the great Marilyn Monroe and I have in common? Well, besides our waist size, not a whole lot, except for we are willing to put our fashion before the weather. So today in the early days of September, very much summertime, I will be making a wool suit from 1957. That quote I read earlier was from Marilyn Monroe's book, My Story, and she detailed how she was so excited to visit New York that she completely forgot that it was summertime and chose her outfits based on the lovely snow that she had remembered from movies. I read this book in high school, and that is the only quote that really stood out to me and stuck with me and makes me laugh every time. So today I'm going to make a soup because fall is on its way, judging by the leaves falling and the fact that the leaves on the trees are starting to change color. And I think it's better to have my wardrobe that I really want to photograph done now so I can take the best pictures despite the weather. So if you're interested in seeing me make this suit, and go through the process and the steps with you, go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's get started. For today's video, we're going to be sewing up Simplicity 2134 size 11 bust 31 and a half. This is a suit pattern that comes in 2 views, one that has more of a Chanel style jacket and one that buttons up the front and has a little belt detail at the waist. I really love the shape of this skirt. I love the soft pleats and the dimension that comes with the pocket. The back view, here is the fabric requirement as well as a small description. It says a slim skirt, both views has soft pleats at each side of the front waistline, a high-rise shaped waistband, and a back kick pleat. Pockets are concealed in side seams. Jacket, both views is waist length, has a attached sleeve, and is lined. Version 1 of the jacket has a top stitch detail opening and buttons trimmed at lower edge of the sleeves. And view 2 has 3/4 length sleeves, rounded collar, and small buckled belt at the front waistline. For the fabric, we're going with this rusty kind of pumpkin spiced wool. It is a coat weight fabric, so I am really nervous about all of the pleating that goes into the skirt and how so many layers of wool is going to affect not only the fit of the waistband, but the overall look. But I have envisioned this for 2 years and I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. Starting off with the skirt, I already have the skirt pieces cut out, so I am pinning the pockets to the skirt. I was a little nervous about adding the pockets for 2 reasons. One, I knew it was going to add an extra thickness to the waistband because the pockets happen to be under the pleats. But also, I usually shy away from adding pockets to the skirt of my garments because I do feel like it weighs a lot on the seams. But in this case, I felt like the pockets would add added shape and I wouldn't have to worry about putting in any kind of hip shaping material like foam or anything like that, or built-in structure. I felt like the added weight from the pockets would do exactly what I would need padding to do, so I left it in. The pocket facing is kind of like a lining to the skirt in some ways. So I'm using a satin, the same satin that I plan on lining the jacket with. I'm using that to be the facing because I don't think that this skirt could handle another thick facing. But if you're using a lighter material, definitely use like a cotton muslin or some kind of interfacing material that would help hold structure in the front. Of course, I'm trying to avoid adding more layers, so I go with the thinnest possible layers. And then I am going in with my carbon paper to trace the outline of the pocket because I'll need to use the guide for top stitching later. Once all your markings are in, then take it over to the sewing machine and start sewing in your darts on this facing layer. You're going to want to work on this facing before you do any more steps to the skirt itself. And so now you're going to attach it to the skirt. As you can see, the skirt still does not have its pleats just yet because you can't do anything until the pockets are top stitched, the facing is completely attached, and then you can move forward as usual. I grab my back panels and I start adding my darts in. Someone mentioned in one of my other videos how I do not tie off my darts. I know that's the way you're supposed to do it, but I go for strength and I feel like a back stitch is a lot stronger. So that is my preferred way of handling that. And I press it really well. So for me, that little bit of pucker that may happen is definitely not worth not back stitching, but that's for my own personal sewing. And I think you should do what works best for you. Marking every stitch line, placement mark, cutting line, anything you can think of is going to be extremely important on a suit pattern. I also say this a lot when I'm working with hats. These lines are really important because in this pattern in particular, there's a lot of top stitching and you want to use your stitching line as a guide. Also, as you can see, I have a cutting line, so you don't want to make any accidents because you cannot go back from this, especially if you're using a more expensive fabric. So now I have put my soft pleats in and I am top stitching or basting those pleats in. The most complicated parts of this skirt is done, and now it's time to sew the side seams together. And I am so excited because looking through this project, I felt like the skirt was going to be the more complex part of this project because of the strange facings that I had never done on the pockets. Now it's time to start working on that contoured waistband, and I am prepping the lining. I went with the satin because, again, I didn't think 2 layers of this wool would have been a good idea. Plus, I was almost running out of fabric. So here I am understitching. This is really important, especially on a slippery fabric like satin, because it will definitely roll forward. And I did put some boning channels in there, but then I realized that the skirt was perfectly fine without the boning channels. If you go with a lighter fabric, do use boning for a contoured waistband because you don't want it to wrinkle. Once the waistband is attached, you can go ahead and hand sew the lining down. And now we move on to the seam binding. I was fortunate enough to find some seam binding in one of my old sewing machine desks. The black was the closest complementary color that I already had, and I didn't want to go to the store, so this is what I use. After the seam binding is attached, then I go in and hand sew the hem. I do not finish the seams of this suit because the wool does not fray, so instead I put my energy into making sure I have nice crisp pressed seams. Now I am moving on to the jacket because the skirt is done. For the jacket, we're starting off with the darts. The darts are located on the back of the sleeve, in the front of the jacket, as well as the back of the jacket. Once the darts are sewn in, then you're going to want to press with steam, as much heat as your wool can take, and then a clapper to lock in the steam and set the press. Now I'm seaming down the center back. If you want to see me work with more wool, I'll tag a card above where I make a wool coat. Before you can move any further with the front of the jacket, you have to put in bound buttonholes now if that's the style of buttonholes that you want to put in. If you plan on putting on the normal worked buttonholes, then you can save that for the last step. I highly recommend that you practice your buttonholes before every project and make sure that your buttons fit the hole before putting it into your jacket, because you cannot undo this step once you've already cut the hole. It will be a giant hole in your piece. Moving on, it's time to stitch together the facings of this jacket. This jacket goes together with an undercollar that is stitched directly to the jacket itself and the upper collar, which is stitched to the facing. I do not like this method of attaching a collar, and it stems mainly because my first suit jacket was attached this way, and the place I messed up the most was the collar. My advice is to, again, make sure you pay attention to all of the markings. There are dots on the collar, and it tells you exactly where you should stop and start your stitching, and that will help so much with placing. Also, make sure that you clip all of your corners and curves and get a good press. Marking lines and pressing has never mattered like they do when you're making a suit or a hat. I'm going to start with seaming the underarm seams first because I do have to reinforce some seams on that curve, like in the picture. I feel like the best way to do this is if the upper shoulders are undone. So I'm going to start with that first and then move on to closing up the upper sleeve. While I work on the sleeves, I want to get into interfacing. I used a standard press in interfacing, but usually I use a hair canvas because the thickness of this coat wool, it didn't need any more structure, so I just used a pressed in interfacing. Should you use any other suiting material that is lighter than this coat material, I highly recommend hair canvas or even a cotton muslin. I'm so excited. The jacket is so close to being done. I just need to go ahead and put the collar on it to get it prepared to put the facing on. The upper collar is already on the facing, so now it's time to put the under collar, which does have the interfacing, onto the jacket, and that is what I'm doing here. Make sure to take great care not to sew all the way to the edge of the collar. You do want to stop on the marking point. So as you can see, my pin does not go all the way to the end of the collar. It does stop about 5/8 away from the end of the collar. This will make the difference when it comes to combining the facing to the jacket. Trust me here. Do not stitch all the way to the end. Stop at that dot or wherever your instructions tell you to stop. Now it's time to attach the facing to the jacket, right sides together. At this point, we are at the home stretch. The last steps for completing this jacket is sewing up the lining, which I will do off camera because it's sewn together pretty much exactly the way that the outer jacket is. It will need shoulder pads, which I will make here, and I have diagrams on my Patreon. I can also share those diagrams in my community tab if you would like. In my humble opinion, shoulder pads should not be a step that's skipped, and they're really important. Using cotton batting, I cut out 7 of these triangular shapes. I used the diagram to get the shape of my shoulder pads as well as the construction on how to put it together. I used 7 pieces of batting, and then I cut 1 piece on the fold so that way I could have a cover for it. I usually use hair canvas for the cover, but I didn't have any today, so I just went and used another piece of batting. To create the pads, I cut each layer a 1/2 inch shorter than the layer before, and I stack them. Then I do like a little pad stitch to attach it all together and create the curved shape like a shoulder. My shoulder pads will be internal, but if you plan on making yours external so that they're removable, you can wrap the pads in the fashion fabric and add snaps. Once you get your stack of batting, you're going to kind of fold it over your fingers. You can fold it over your dress form or even a pressing ham to get a nice curved shape. And then you're going to put some vertical long basting stitches and kind of pad stitch. I don't know how to pad stitch, so I don't exactly want to call it that. But you can see in the diagram how they make those stitches. You're going to want to do exactly that, but I like to do that while holding my batting in a curved shape. So when I am done, the curve is stitched permanently into the shoulder pad. If you do it the other way and you leave it flat, but you use hair canvas, you'll be able to wrap the hair canvas onto a pressing ham or the shoulder of a dress form and steam the shape into it. But this way works just as well, and you'll see that in the end when I show you the results I got. If you are enjoying this video so far, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel for more. I love making suits because I learn so much every single time, and I do plan on making some more in the future. So this is the finished results, and I have that curve that I was looking for. Now you're going to want to take the cover piece that I cut on the fold, wrap it around, and kind of top stitch around the edge. You could have included this in the pad stitching section, but I just didn't. The shoulder pads are in and attached to the shoulder seams. I find the shoulder pads necessary because without them, the coat kind of wrinkles in the back right there. And with the shoulder pads in, you get a nice, smooth, even back. I kind of have sloped or uneven shoulders, so with the shoulder pads, it reduces wrinkles and gives me a more even, polished look. Okay, so I did hand sew the lining on off screen. It's so nice. It's a beautiful chocolate brown lining. I have to cut the buttonholes for this and remove these basting stitches. And then I do need to add a belt buckle over here. I do not have a buckle that matches this right now, so I'm going to use a silver one that I already have. I couldn't find any brown or bronze or anything in store anywhere, so I do have one ordered, and I'll swap it out when it gets here. So I have to add the buckle on, and then the suit will be ready, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So I'm going to finish that off screen, and then we will do the reveal. Thank you so much for watching through to the end. If you enjoyed this video, Please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving me a little comment. Commenting really helps push this video through the algorithm. If you would like to support me further, you can leave me a virtual tip over on Ko-fi. I will also have the diagrams up on Ko-fi for anybody who wants to see it for free. You can also become a bobbin over on Patreon. This month's Patreon exclusive video is up now. I also do project sneak peeks and planning videos. Thank you to absolutely everyone who supports my work. It means the world to me. I have lots of wool suits planned for this season. I have wool that's been sitting in my stash for quite some time, and I really want to work through those pieces and see the projects through because I've been daydreaming for years of what these suits would look like. So I will be putting a lot of focus into suits and working with wool this year. So I hope you guys will stick around and join me for the journey. And I really do hope you learn some things from me, whether it's a specific technique or what not to do. I look forward to sharing it all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.